right. Well, Milan. Hey, let's get this link in here. All right, we'll see how many people we have in here. We have 2 people as of right now. From Indonesia. Hello, how are you? If you're a Milanista, welcome to the stream right now. I just tweeted this live on Twitter, so trying to wait for some people to file in. But basically being reported everywhere that Christian Pulisic will be signing for Milan. And his medicals will probably take place next week, obviously, since today is a Friday. But basically, all the reports coming out of Italy are now confirming this. We already did a recording multiple times, one with Matt Reed on this football channel, and then again yesterday with Roberto Rojas. Check out those videos if you have not already. But I just wanted to do a live reaction to the news to begin with, because I think this is just one of the bigger stories to happen during the transfer window. This isn't surprising whatsoever that Christian Pulisic was going to leave Chelsea, given everything that has been going on over there, change of ownership, his injury record, just no spot for him within the starting 11 or to even rotate in, not really positionally great. And at the same time, for Milan, they needed to make a signing to add more depth into this attack. I think immediately he's better than Junior Macias, Alexis Salamakers. I think he's better than any number 10 that they currently have. He's not going to be starting over Rafael Leao at the left wing position, so we're probably going to be seeing him as the number 10 or on the right wing. This doesn't also rule out the fact that Chukwueze is still Milan's target for the right wing, so that would indicate that they want to start Pulisic at the number 10 position. He does produce there. He does a pretty good job. He is flexible and versatile when it comes to being positionally, flexible, like I was just saying. But also at the same time, it's not his natural spot. If anybody has seen him, he's best off on the left wing as opposed to any other position. So just to have him in here, if Rafael Leao needs a break, maybe it'll be Divock Origi on the left side as well. I know a lot of people don't want to hear that, but if he's going to be staying on for next season, that is something that you will see. And if not, maybe someone else fills in the number 10 position when Pulisic can switch over to the left side. But all in all, this is one of the bigger signings in Milan history, in recent Milan history, simply because of who the player is and the time in which they're signing him. You're getting the best American player, in my opinion, at the age of 24. Sites is here. Again, we're just going to go shift and move in. As Fab has right here, personal terms were agreed weeks ago. Lyon were interested in signing Pulisic. They didn't end up signing him at the end of the day, but what ended up happening was that they couldn't afford it. James Horncastle was on the Sempre Milan podcast. He discussed this and he mentioned, hey, he wasn't really able to, Lyon weren't able to raise funds because they had to sell players. So that offer really wasn't what it seemed like, according to the reports out of France. And once again, Milan are going to be signing Pulisic. Sites is in here. Sites, how you doing, bro? Alessandro, you seem hyped. Give us the most American reaction to Pulisic. I mean, I don't want to get DMC'd and copyrighted just because I'm going to be playing some Star Spangled Banner music. But at the same time, this is a really interesting signing. For Lani Moncada and Jerry are cooking. I mean, listen, let's get into sort of what the fee would be. So what I knew personal information wise, it was going to be around 22 million euro with bonuses included within that. We've seen reports of 23 million included with those bonuses. I was hearing that there was going to be a sell on. But in my opinion, it is a little risky with that fee. I'm not going to deny that. There is that injury record there. He's not going to be playing in his natural position. He's going to have to stay healthy, and we know how Milan handle, a lot of injuries. They don't always go so well with the team. And again, Sites, I was just saying, from everything I'm hearing and reading, it's going to be the number 10 position. Sasso, again, very hyped about this market. It is huge for marketing purposes, but we'll just stick on the number 10 real quick and then we'll get into the marketing side of things. But yeah, I mean, listen, when you add someone like this, you're using him for multiple areas. And that's what Milan have been doing with a lot of the players that they sign. Sandro Tonali was one of those versatile players, Benacer as well. I know we line these guys up in double pivots. They're not necessarily defensive midfielders that can line up in that position, but Pioli puts them there. De Catalare, whether or not you could think he's good or not, he does come with that versatility in his skill set where he plays on the right. He plays like as sort of a false nine, second striker. They tried him at the number 10. That obviously failed miserably. But yeah, at the same time, what you're getting here as well, and we'll just go to Fab's tweet about this with the actual fees and figures here. So he has worth more than 20 million plus add-ons. He mentions how Ruben Loftus-Cheek and Pulisic was pushing to join Milan since Monday. Listen, it's factually true. Chelsea fans might not want to hear this, but this is the biggest club that Pulisic has ever played for. He's played at some pretty big clubs already, especially during his European career, where he's been at Dortmund, where he has been at Chelsea, obviously winning the Champions League with them and helping them in that run to do so. He's obviously the best player in American history, in my opinion. Other people don't agree with it, don't really care. Other players were mainly playing in MLS for the majority of their career and not even good enough to play at the best clubs in Europe on top of it. So we can't even really go off of all that stuff. And it's really funny to kind of see the reaction to this simply because I think he's getting a little bit more hate than most people would admit just because he is American. Obviously, the injury record, it's indefensible. He has to stay healthy. There's no denying that. And again, as far as output goes, when he is healthy and when he plays consistently, Pulisic will score and he will assist. That is something he does with the national team. That is something that he's done with Chelsea in the past. And I think he is capable of replicating that. And he's still young. He's just 24 years of age. And within Serie A, that is incredibly young. You might as well be a U21 player within this league. Zlatan has retired, my man. He is not coming back. I don't know where you've been. You might be under a rock, but he's been gone for a while now. He announced his retirement. We've been hearing a 4-3-3, but all the midfielders were buying. I mean, it would make more sense, top floor, from everything that we're seeing in the types of profiles that they signed. They still don't have a defensive midfielder. They haven't replaced one since Kessie left. So I don't see how this happens. Do you think Cardinal sat down together and got it done? I mean, the directors got it done. I don't think Jerry needs to give final approval. This has been stated by journalists and reporters that are in the know with Milan that are saying, yeah, this guy right here is signing the approvals of these players. So it goes through Moncada and the scouting department. They go through a player, then they meet with the club that owns said player. So in this case, Chelsea and Pulisic. So they go over there, they try and negotiate the fee. Jerry needs to give that final approval because he is the owner, and Furlani is the CEO. That has to go through him. So it goes Moncada, Furlani, and then Jerry, and that's how deals get done with Milan at this point in time. I don't think it was a one-on-one with Todd Boehly. Obviously, Chelsea's structure is a little bit different. I'm sure Boehly was in these negotiations as well. Chelsea have had a lot of turnover once again. They signed a lot of players in January and last summer. And as we see, they're selling a lot of players this summer to raise funds. And I got to say, they've done a very good job with that. Why are we not in for Zakaria? Because he makes a lot of money and he is really not that good. And he's on Juventus and they're not going to give us a good deal, especially when they can get a signing elsewhere. But again, Chelsea and Milan, they do have this good relationship. It's gone back a couple of years. It's not strictly related to, this signing. We and even the ownership, Roman Abramovich, Marina, when she was there as well with Chelsea, we knew there was a lot of that going down. So the fact that this got over the line isn't shocking. 1 year left on Pulisic's deal as well. Copa America's next season, he needs to get into a role where he is playing consistently. He had a pretty good World Cup, all things considered, with the U.S. men's national team, one of the younger teams at the World Cup as well. So they did well of getting out of the group. His only goal against Iran was the difference in that one. Any truth to Milan interest in Gravenbach? I mean, listen, Gravenberch, I'm not an insider, Sometimes when I do get information passed along to me, I will tweet that out. I usually report about it. I've only heard things on Ruben Loftus-Cheek and Christian. I haven't heard on anything else because I don't have any inside information there. But when I do, it's inside with Chelsea. It's not anywhere else. You're not going to get that from me, unfortunately. I mean, if I got more news, I would tweet about it. I would talk about it, but I don't. So that's the way that is. I mean, it's not, I wouldn't say nickel and diming. I mean, that's just how negotiations go. I understand what you're talking about. Some targets, they miss out over a couple million. But when you're in a financial situation like Milan is, where you don't have the biggest budget in the world and you have to be accurate in which these valuations of the players go with. I mean, listen, Milan will set a number, right? And Matt Santangelo, my co-host, and I have said this all the time. Milan, a club like this, will have a number for a player. So toss out Pulisic, right? So we have Pulisic there. He's worth, for Milan, in their opinion, 20 to 23 million for whatever reasons, right? Versatility, he's American, he's got a Puma deal, his wage structure is fine, he's willing to take a pay cut, his age works as well with the club. So they're not going to go over a number that is set. Just like they're not going to overpay a number for Chukwueze when he has 1 year left on his deal and Villarreal are asking for 35 million. Milan are not going to meet that demand. That's just the way it goes. And I understand it's very frustrating, but that's the reality of the situation within an Italian club these days. Milan don't own their own stadium. The TV deals are not great. They don't raise a lot of money in terms of the transfer market. Obviously, the Tonali deal changed that greatly, but that's unfortunately what's happening, and that's what's going to continue to happen. And that's the way Redbird do things, and that's their philosophy. And again, have you heard about Origi not wanting to stay? I mean, listen, I don't know anything about Divock Origi wanting to leave or wanting to stay. That hasn't been reported. I don't have that inside information. Thoughts on Morata if he's closing to the 25? I do not like it as a 25 million euro fee. Not at all. I think the rumored clause that Di Marzio had was around 10 million euro, but that's a good fee. And if he takes a pay cut around and goes for 4 million wage net, I think that's a fine deal, all things considered. Um, Again, Bijoy, you said, dude, you asked me if he was returning. Like, is he like? You have to specify that more, man. I'm sorry because you come off like you thought he was coming back to play. So you got to specify. Um, no. He said he's not going to be a director or coach. They already offered him the position. Nicolas Skira said that he turned it down. So that's not really going to be a thing at this moment in time. There's rumors that he might be working with the agency that Raiola used to run. Obviously, he's been their top client for the longest period of time. He's still close with Enzo Raiola as well. And again, listen, this is a player who, in Pulisic, we can start talking on the area in which Milan can capitalize in terms of marketing. So I'm from the U.S., as you could tell by my accent at this point, and I obviously root and watch the U.S. men's national team for the longest period of time. And with that, I know almost everything about this kid. I've been watching him since he has been a teenager. He's come up. He's been the most talented teenager. I think Gio Reyna is up there as well. There's the Dempseys, the Donovans of the world, Claudio Reynas. There's been other players of the course of time that have shown out and done very well. This is obviously the deepest and most talented U.S. men's national team that we've seen in a very long time. But this kid, from the very start of his tenure with the national team, winning a Gold Cup, winning multiple nations, like he's not in this Gold Cup because they're giving him a break. And once again, man, listen, it matters to me on a scale because there's a market of over 300 million people in this country, and this is the best player on the national team. Whether or not you think it'll work out tactically, DeMarcus Beasley as well. Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. I think he's in that conversation with some of the greatest, but like there's levels to this, in my opinion. Pulisic, Dempsey, Donovan, they're in their own class of players. If you want to put Claudio Reyna in there, I mean, like they're just not the same level of players. These are guys that have been in MLS the majority of their career. I think, by the way, Dempsey is sky high, levels above of Landon Donovan. And it's no disrespect to Landon. I think Landon is, in my opinion, the most important U.S. men's national team player to ever exist. I think Landon opened the door for a lot of other people. But when we're talking about quality, It's not close. It's not a conversation. This kid plays out wide. He plays as a 10. Dempsey and Donovan was more of a 10-2, center forward, whatever you want to say. They were closer to goal. And Pulisic is going to get that record. And his international goal scoring records as well. Like he's rapidly climbing up the list. He is incredible. And he's not playing in every competition as well, by the way. So that's another factor that we don't talk about. The U.S. is sending their second team to this. And Beasley was roasting Milan with PSV in that UCL semifinal. Well, yes, he's not Dempsey, Donovan, Pooley class. Yeah, of course not. Please, let's stop. Let's be real here. He's not in that class. Good for him cooking them, I guess, but he's not even close. What's up, Sites? What do you have to say? Pulisic is an upgrade over Brahim and can actually give Leah. Listen, I think Brahim is probably a better number 10. Overall skill-wise, they're different players. They're not really the same at all. Yeah, John, I agree with you as well. I don't think there's much debate with that. I think Gio Reyna is up there, though. Gio, again, another player who has a lot of injury issues, but I think he's up there for sure. Yes. Top floor, 100% agreed. I think everything hinges on that. As you can see, this is also the confirmation. DiMarzio saying 20 million plus bonuses, trying to get through everything there as well. I'm going to try and pull up Pulisic's injury record as well from Transfer Market for everybody because I know everybody is so interested in his injury record, and it's not great. And I've been over that. You can't hide it. It's just the fact of the matter. So we'll go through his injury history. A lot of soft tissue injuries over the course of his career. So again, we'll pull this up real quick. Here, this is his injury record. So we'll also remove this banner so you guys can see this and everything that has to do with it. Okay, so again, as you can see, if you guys can't see it, just comment in the below. Or off to the side because below is just the YouTube comments in the post. So anyways, so you have knee problems, misses 11 matches. Again, a little bit inflated with matches in England. There's multiple tournaments, so he could be missing like Carabao Cup, all that other stuff as well. So again, look, if we go over here, ankle injury, not great. Misses a lot of time with that. COVID is COVID, muscle injury, quarantining, hamstring injury, calf strain, calf injury, tearing the abductor muscle bruises. I mean, this is a lot. This is a lot of stuff for a player of his age. On top of not being able to crack it within the 11. And then here and there, missing games from time to time. I mean, if you really add it up, it's not too much over the course of that time. These aren't longer-term injuries. The injury history with Chelsea is really not great because of the tear in the abductor muscle. You look at the hamstring injury. I mean, this season alone, in 2021. So 9, 10, if we want to count quarantine, we won't count that. 9, 13 matches. So we don't count coronavirus and he's ill. That's 4 matches. So 23 matches within, 12 matches within the 21-22 season. Then the knee problems caused him to miss 11. Again, I do think part of it is playing a condensed schedule and you playing so much. There's a lot of issues regarding that. Not making excuses because everybody plays with that. He's going to have to stay healthy. There's absolutely no debate whatsoever with that. Are they planning? They are planning on Chukwueze, Musa, Rangers, and Striker. Do you think they'll sell more assets? I don't know if they'll sell Kalulu. I wouldn't be shocked. They haven't said that they need to sell players like that, but there are guys like Rebic, Origi, Fotoballatore, Macias. I think those types of players will be gone. I wouldn't be shocked if Florenzi leaves as well. I don't think they're really going to take away too much from the center back position. I think they want to move forward with the Tomori, the Chow. I think Chow is going to have a bigger role next season. But again, that's just the health side of things. And if we just go back to what I was talking about in terms of marketing and the pull that Pulisic will bring, there's just going to be so many more eyeballs, whether it's social media, whether it's just overall American interest, TV viewership with CBS Sports, and how much we're going to see people invested in Milan. I think this is just such a big boost for them on so many levels, simply because of the type of player that he is. This is, again, like, make no mistake about it. Think about Milan signing a player from a country that has a massive population, right? So say if we were to have signed, I'm trying to think of a player from it's really a unique situation with the US. They don't have a rich history, obviously, and on top of the large population. It's really unique in that sense, but I mean, I guess you could say Indonesia, right? Indonesia has an incredibly massive population, not a football powerhouse, but if they had a player that was incredible, not incredible because Pulisic, that would be exaggerating a little bit, but say their best ever player, one of their best talents ever, goes to sign for Milan, and I know Tijani Reinders. I know I messed up his name, but say he signs, he's half Indonesian. That's a big boost for them, right? The level of interest, and I know how popular Milan is in Indonesia as well. Kamada's another good one. That's a good point. Daichi Kamada, I wouldn't say he's the best Japanese player ever, but he's one of them in the past 10 years or so. I think he's been fantastic. And again, I'm not saying he's number one, but he's up there in terms of players in recent years. But you're right. The eyeballs in Japan would be on him. It's very similar to the Honda signing as well years ago with Milan. The same as RLC, yes. RLC's injury record is the most exaggerated bullshit that you'll ever see in your life. And excuse my language for that. Origi plus 20 million for Skamaka. Yeah, that is the perfect deal for us, and exactly why it won't happen, Marcello. I do not see that happening as well. But again, Pulisic, there are a lot of question marks. There's no denying that. I'm not going to be hiding from that. I don't think that's really something that we should, scoff at. And I'm not going to scoff at it. I just think that he is a totally different type of player and animal when it comes to this. World Cup qualifiers, he's got 19 goal contributions in 23 matches. I don't care who he plays against. Where, nobody gave a shit about Chicharito when he was playing with Manchester United when CONCACAF was even worse years ago. Nobody batted an eye. Sir Alex Ferguson thought he was good enough, and they played him. He's had 3 goal contributions in 4 World Cup matches. Obviously, not his fault when they lost it. Gold Cup 2019, 3 goals, 3 assists in the 6 matches. CONCACAF Nations League. I mean, just time and time again, Christian showed up, showed why he is one of the best players for the team. And it's just, to me, so incredible to see at the end of the day. This is one of the best players that has ever walked through the doors of the U.S. men's national team. And he's playing for Milan. And as an Italian American and a huge Milan fan, a U.S. men's national team fan, I am an Azzurri fan as well because my mother's obviously my parents and grandparents are from Italy. It's just a surreal moment. Oguchi Onyewu and Serginho Dest were a little bit different. This is the guy. I wanted Dempsey and Donovan to join in the past. There was rumors of Landon Donovan like years ago. Again, but I mean, this is just awesome. It's so cool for so many levels. And I don't really care what is met with the criticism of Christian Pulisic, but just from a signing standpoint, this is really awesome to see. And it's really hard to, combat this or just just come at it with negativity. At the very worst, we're getting more eyeballs on Milan. And Milan fell behind in the social media, in the rise of the social media era. It's really difficult to catch up to clubs that were exploding and doing so well when there was a much higher level of interest in North America, which was a big boost. And again, these TV deals that have boosted the Premier League and all that stuff. The situation with Chukwueze, I write for The Athletic, so just I'm going to go pull up The Athletic article real quick for this. So again, by the way, guys, just want to say, if you do have a Twitter account, just want to get to this right here. If you do follow me on there, please just give this a retweet so people can join in on us and help us out as well with this to get more people in here. I need some watch hours for the channel. I'll pull up the Chukwueze stuff real quick. I just want some people to just retweet it so I could just get more people interested in watching the video as well. I already got the retweet on that reaction as well. So I am trying to go and get this article for you at the same time about Chukwueze. Again, The Athletic is a very easy and cheap sign up to make. So at the same time, if you're interested in reading that, you can go and do that. Let me find the article. Okay, so it is right here. This is from one of our La Liga writers. I'm pretty sure he follows Real Madrid. Guillermo Rai. So go follow him if you have not already. Real Madrid correspondent for The Athletic, but obviously has insight with this deal. We bid 25 million euro for Chukwueze. So Villarreal are holding out for a higher fee. Like I mentioned earlier, 35 million was a rumored price. That is obviously way too high for Milan. I think this offer of 25 million with 1 year left on his deal might have to get there with bonuses. But again, I just find it interesting. And look at the comments. These guys are so funny. 25 million. This is cheap. He's got 1 year left on his deal, guys. Let's make this very clear. That is why that offer is at that price, because Chukwueze has 1 year left with Villarreal. So obviously the offer isn't going to be astronomical. This is just basic logistics. Okay. This is how stuff happens. The same thing with Christian Pulisic. And now there might be a change in with leverage and the demands from Villarreal because of the price that Christian Pulisic went for, and Chukwueze is a better player, obviously, and Milan have him as a position of need. So this isn't like a really surprising thing at the end of the day as well. So to me, I find it very funny that people are just thrown off by the price that is being offered by Milan. Like, this isn't a shocking thing. The guy doesn't have much time left on his contract. That's why the offer is at that level. We'll see. He's already agreed to personal terms. That's been proven. It's really down to the clubs now to figure out a fee. And with Milan's budget, it has tripled since the Tonali sale. That's been confirmed by James Horncastle. Again, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you guys have not already. Be greatly appreciated. Follow me on Twitter at Martino Pucci. Go follow me on TikTok and blah blah blah, all that other stuff. So again, I just find it very interesting how a lot of people just don't think that Christian Pulisic, isn't the best American. So again, sorry guys, real quick. Just giving a response to people. So again, I just think at the end of the day that Milan are getting a good deal here. It's opportunistic. Thoughts on Dia for 25? No. Not giving Salernitana at 25 million for a guy who showed out in 1 year. Great season. Incredible, even. I'm not giving you 25 million. No. Not even going over 18. I think it's nonsense. Just that offer. I'm not saying that about you, top floor. I think it's a ridiculous thing. And no, Marcello, it's a more than reasonable thing. I don't trust him week in, week out to be a starter. I'm going to say that right now. I don't. There's nothing to back that up. We saw that injury record there. With Milan's history, with the way Serie A is, with the amount of games that he's going to be playing, it's a lot to expect. Milan are going to have to rely on the players that they sign to fill in for him if he's not there. But he's going to have to show up. There's no doubt about it. I don't see how anything else would impact that. So we'll try and see a couple more things. If you have more questions about this stuff, you could just reply in the comments section about this. Again, like the video as well. That's a huge boost for me. What striker would you want in? I mean, are you asking me in the sense of like what's logistical with Milan's budget, or what I would want in general? Like, if I had 50 million at my disposal, what striker I would want to sign? Let me know what you mean. Brother. Obviously it's anti-American. Both. It would be Scamacca at this point. I think Scamacca is the most realistic and good fit for Milan. I think his age, I think his quality that we've seen at Sassuolo. I think he did pretty decent at West Ham. It's tough to crack into his side and adjust to the Premier League. The whole squad struggled for the most part, especially in the Premier League, but he did a very good job in the Conference League. Whether you weigh that greatly or not is up to you. But hey, Declan Rice was within that team. I just think it's a very difficult adjustment in a league like that with a striker like that, and the style is completely different in the Prem compared to Serie A. Serie A has been notoriously known as the toughest league to score in. Cristiano Ronaldo has said so. A lot of the other top strikers of all time have said that. Zlatan as well, who's played in La Liga, he's played in Ligue 1, he's played in the Premier League. He says the same thing. So again, I'm not really surprised by that comment. We'll try and see what other stuff as well. The Luca Romero signing was official. Okay, so here we go. There's some updates with Tijani Reiners from Nicolas Guerra. So we'll get into this real quick. And I'm going to have to do a quick bathroom break. I'll have to mute my mic. But Christian Pulisic's deal with AC Milan, they're pushing to sign him. Sorry, after Pulisic's deal, Milan are pushing to sign him. They already agreed to personal terms. Those wages are fantastic. And they're working to close the deal in the next few days. So that'll probably be something, hopefully, to be done by next week. Marcello says, I think 3 names to go for Rasmus Højlund, Scamacca, Beto. I'm not the biggest fan of Beto. I think physically as a profile, he's phenomenal. I don't think he's as good of a finisher on the ball as he could be. Again, he plays for Udinese, so it's kind of tough to gauge in terms of creation. De Lofeo was out for a very long time for them, which was a huge loss for them. I think Højlund, the fee is too high for my liking. But I think he's a good talent. I think Pulisic would be better as an attacking midfielder for Milan. It's what's likely going to happen. I don't agree with that statement, but that's just really where I'm at. So what I'm going to do with you guys really quick while I go to the bathroom, I'm going to mute my mic, but we got this intro video here for Luca Romero. I'm going to press play for you guys, and you could watch it. I'm going to just put on the volume up. Let me know real quick if you hear it. If you guys hear that, let me know. Just reply real quick in the comments so I could just play this and I'll head back. And that's Scamacca would be ideal, so yeah, I agree. So I agree with you. No sound. Damn it. Maybe if I go to present. I share my screen. If it doesn't, you guys could just watch the video anyways. I just have to go and I'll be right back. Oh, is it just replaying this entire time? But I'm back, by the way. What did I drop on the floor? Are those my glasses? Oh, no. Hopefully. Wow, they didn't pop out. Thank God. My piece of shit glasses. Do I think he will get a chance under Pioli? Yeah, that's the $1 million question, my friend. Tough to say, right? Because if we go off of preseason and we say, yeah, if he has a good preseason, yeah, he should play. But then we see Yassine Adli last year. And we see the record and history of Pioli with very young players, whether it's Tonali, Benacer, Leao, and all these other guys. They don't necessarily get the consistent playing time at their age, and rightfully so. As of right now, he hasn't proven more than Alexis Salamakers, Junior Macias. There's a chance he could play centrally, but he's played primarily more on the right wing side. Again, if you're interested in Luca Romero stuff, I would go and watch my video on my channel that discussed it yesterday with Roberto Rojas. I think there's upside there. There's a low risk, high reward type of deal. But I don't know. I don't think he'll be getting the minutes. I think personally he should and will get loaned out. That's just my sentiment. That's my feeling. I don't have any proof about this, but logistically, where is he going to go? Are they just going to keep him within the squad? Is it going to be? It's not going to be a loss at this situation. Like, this guy's been a professional. He was the youngest ever player to debut in La Liga. He was just with Lazio last year. He scored a goal in Serie A. Putting him in Primavera is just stupid. Just straight up stupid. It's not wise. I don't think it makes any sense at the end of the day to do that. So anything also confuses why we don't go after for SMS. Because the reported fee is 40 million, and the age the profile. Milan signing players outside of the league gives them an opportunity with the growth decree, so they get taxed less than other players that are already playing within Serie A. So that is one thing that is important to note. And that is also why they're not going to be moving in for him. I think that's been, to me, that's been obvious as to why they're not doing it. Personally, obviously, again, I would go for SMS. It's just not going to be a thing. At this rate, no Premier League team swooping in for him. There's rumors that it's just he's waiting out for Juve. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised by that. But also, real quick, to just give a shout out to Red Sauce Media and Art Morelli. It's a great shirt. You could get it. And on the back, I'll try and stand up a little bit. I don't know if you guys can see it. It's a little strange. You got the devil right there as well. Trying to get back into focus here. But yeah, so we'll end up seeing what happens. But moving at Tijani Reiners, hopefully Milan make more advancements within the market. It would be an interesting thing to see at the end of the day and where they move from here. I think it's going to be more towards the midfield, but don't we need leadership in the midfield considering it's a whole new midfield? I mean, they're going to have Benacer, Ruben Loftus-Cheek, and I mean, Ruben Loftus-Cheek's 27. It's only a year younger than Milinkovic-Savic, if that's what you're referring to. And we're going to have to see at the end of the day. And I know where you're going with this. I assume you're saying leadership in terms of age. Milan just don't make signings like that. They just don't. Especially since Maldini is gone now, where they had guys like Kier and Zlatan. They're just not going to do those moves because that's just not the way the philosophy of a Billy Bean and Moneyball works. Just need to have some water here. Again, great signing for Reinders. Listen, I know a limited amount about him. I know his like profile and all that stuff. Obviously, there's been the performance against Lazio in Europa League, but I will say this: if you go off of that, that was the second unit that Lazio deployed. Okay, so like, there's only so much you can go off of from that performance. He does well against the Serie A side. Milinkovic-Savic was starting in that one, so sometimes you have to go matchup for matchup. It's not necessarily like, oh, he's playing the second circuit, like whoever is backed up for Lazio. You know, they're not starting Zaccagni. There's no Immobile. But like, what's that have to do with Tijani Reiners, right? Like, he's not going against him. He's really doing against Milinkovic-Savic. Marcello, I don't know if you heard already, but Gravenberch, listen, super talented. Know his profile from Ajax. Obviously not working out with Bayern. I know some people like to be iffy on Bayern players that don't last very long and they get rid of them, but I don't think that's necessarily a reflection if a player is doing well or not at a club. You know, Bayern, again, they win the league, they do well. It's just a different situation. It depends on the fee because they bought him for around, I believe, 25 million last year. So again, it'll be dicey. It'll be interesting. The reports are saying that his agency offered him to Milan. Obviously, the negotiations with Bayern are going to have to go down. Yeah. So yeah. I mean, listen, I didn't see his performance against West Ham, and this is about Reiners, by the way. So I'm probably going to wrap up here soon because it's been 40 minutes straight. If there's any, Milan, please give me a good midfielder. We'll see, man. But if there's any other things that you want to talk about, we could just wrap up real quick with it. Pulisic signing with Milan, I think, is one of the biggest signings in recent years for Milan, simply because of the profile, who he plays for, where he's played in the past. Do I think he will be successful? As of today, with the signing, if I were to rate it out of a 10, I would say the Pulisic signing would be a 6.5 to a 7. Thank you, Marcello. Appreciate the kind words. I think 6.5 to a 7. The injury record is there. The fee is a little high. It's going to be difficult to see where he plays on a consistent basis. That would play to his skill set. But I think if he just stays fit, he will be a productive player, and a lot of people will forget about the fee that he went for. Top Floor says, what do you hope we get by the end of the transfer window? I hope we get a backup left back. Hope we get a striker to add to this core. I hope we get a starting right winger, so Chukwueze. I hope we get 2 more midfielders and an option at right back. And then I'm happy. I would hope one of these midfielders, there's going to be a well, probably 3 midfielders, maybe you could argue. Because listen, here's my thing. They're probably going to trust Radek Krunic to go with Ruben Loftus-Cheek as well. So those are the guys, as of today, are your starting midfielders for Milan going to the Champions League group stage, which to me, not a big fan of. That's not great because we don't even know who we're playing in the first place. We're not in a great pot. I believe we're in pot 3 or pot 4 for that matter. So that's not great already to begin with. And then if you really look at it from the standpoint of you're waiting for Benacer, we talk about Serie A. Milan are playing 5 or 6 of the top 10 teams in Serie A in the first 10 rounds. That's crazy. They're not going to have those players for that. So they better get these guys in quick, assimilated quick, figure out the CDK situation. Does he stay or does he go? I'm not a fan of this loan with obligation to buy with Atalanta. I think it's silly. Either you keep him and you believe in him or you sell him outright. I don't believe you do anything where you kind of mess around like that. Who is Milan's new signing? I mean, we've just discussed the whole thing with Pulisic, so you're gonna have to play back the video, my friend. I apologize. It just went over everything real quick, but it's Christian Pulisic. Anybody else think Calabria has fell off? Yeah, well, Calabria has had a lot of injury issues over the course of his career, especially in recent years. I think he's physically not at the top shape that you need for a Champions League or the top wingers within Serie A. I think he's a nice Serie A player. That isn't necessarily someone that you can win the Champions League with unless he is your weakest player within your 11. And it's no disrespect to him. It's something that I would consider moving on from. Singo from Torino has been a player linked to Milan. He is not necessarily a great player out of the back 4, but he's for me, I love him as a wing back. Milan not going to be playing that type of system as far as we know. So unless this formation is going to change up this coming season, we will see. But the formations that have been rumored, like 4-3-3, fits with Rafael Leao. Because I can't do something in a formation where Rafael Leao is central. Leao has to be out wide. If Leao is out wide, then you feel much better about it. But if we're going with, a 4-3-3 here. Oh, yeah, so 4-3-3. But if it's a 3-5-2, that doesn't help him. But absolutely backup left back because Teo is going to be run into the ground at this point. Thoughts on getting Kessie back? Kessie, with his salary, I mean, what are you going to get him on, a loan? He's probably not going to take that wage cut. I think he would rather go somewhere else. I don't really see that happening. But again, guys, I want to wrap up over here. Genuinely appreciate all of you. If you have not subscribed to the YouTube channel already, please do so. Like up the video, comment afterwards. Check out all the other videos on Christian Pulisic, Yunus Musa, all these other signings, Luca Romero as well. Again, if you're interested in all that stuff. What happened to Baldanzi? He was linked up so much. I think Baldanzi is probably going to Napoli, from being quite honest with you. Going to be replacing the likes of like a Zielinski over there. I just don't see at his fee of 20 million euro after the Christian Pulisic transfer that Milan would be lined up to sign him. I think he's a nice player. I just don't think he's coming to Milan at the end of the day. But again, guys, appreciate it so much. Christian Pulisic to Milan. It will be probably official next week. It has been agreed upon with Chelsea and Milan. So the greatest American player of all time is joining Milan. Thank you so much, guys. Once again, subscribe to the YouTube, Twitter, Martino Puccio, Threads, Instagram, TikTok. Obviously, follow the YouTube Shorts. Follow all my stuff on Sempre Milan. I work for them, do short form videos as well. But appreciate you guys so much, and I'll see you next time.